somewhere outside Gotham City.
Well, there's no comic books in there, but I'm going to keep looking.
Welcome back to the West Coast Avengers, episode 4.
West Coast Avengers, look at me counting to 4.
Welcome back to the West Coast Avengers. We got a new special episode for you. As you can see, I did not find anything in the cave. All I found was bat droppings and a British guy who kept saying his name was Alfred. The special episode we have for you this week, I bought an entire collection from a gentleman yesterday. His name happened to be Dave as well. He doesn't know it, but now he's the third member of the West Coast Avengers. I immediately brought it downstairs to the basement of my apartment building because I do have a small storage locker there and I wanted to set up this space to be clear of everything. And so we can do a live unboxing. I looked at about 65% of the books in this collection. I wasn't able to look at everything, but I saw a couple little hints of greatness there. I saw one really big book, but I know that there's probably some other things in there that I didn't see. Anyway, it was cheap enough. I took a shot. We're gonna see today, mostly for the first time along with you. All right, let me go downstairs and go to my storage unit and grab some boxes. Creepy hallway. It's nice to have this. All right, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Gonna catch my breath, have some water, wash my hands, put some gloves on, and start digging. So as I told y'all, I bought 5 boxes of books. I only saw about 65% of them. I flipped through everything over the course of 20 minutes, but because some of the boxes are stacked like this, I wasn't able to look at every single book, which is fine because I saw a couple of things. I was like, all right, I'm not into this for a ton of money. Wearing gloves because this stuff's super dirty, super dusty, dirty shit. All right, I'm gonna look through this and kind of just start pointing out books. Oh, here we go, an Atlas Comics, Son of Dracula, #1. That's pretty cool. A lot of weird things, and I do like that. When you see some of the indie stuff, some of it you know is garbage, but then there's properties like Grendel and Madman and The Crow and Hellboy that appeared in indies, and people didn't know about them because they weren't popular until either the book got big or a movie came out. And look at this though. The generic comic book. Our buddies in Keys and Grails had just posted this, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to try and look for that. And boom, there it is. Here's a Charlton book, Geronimo James. That could have some value to it. Here we go. Ghost Rider #1. That's a banger. G.I. Joe European Missions. Grant Morrison fucking wrote this book. I'm putting that to the side. So most of this stuff is 80s, 90s. Second time I've found this week. Hercules #1 and Hercules #2. Bunch of Hercules books. How about that? And another different Hercules. A+ Comics Hercules. Well, this is a John Byrne special. How to Draw a Comics comic. And that's John Byrne. Plus #1. I'm keeping that. Inhumanoids #1. Inhumanoids #2. Desert Storm, Hussein to Hell. Most likely going to throw this out. All right, this is great. Dr. Chaos Unleashed, #1 and #2. If you remember the 90s and you remember weird comics, this is Triumphant Comics. Funny thing about Triumphant Comics, one of the guys who started this company, he was writer. He also created some of the characters. His name's John Riley. Great guy. He still does own a store on Long Island in Mineola called Grasshopper Comics. From the ages of like 12 to like 16, that was my comic book store. I even worked there for a couple of days in the summer, helping clean up his back room. John is a great guy. I haven't seen him in like 20 years, but I gotta say, like that, without that store, like my comic collecting life wouldn't have been as full. Grasshopper Comics. So check it out if you're in Long Island. They're still there. I was there a couple of months ago. Amalgam Comics, Strange Fate. So Amalgam was Marvel and DC getting together and making some really shitty characters, combining Doctor Strange and Dr. Fate here. Dark Claw was Batman and Wolverine. Man, that shit was awful. Ooh, here's a Doom Patrol lot. Let's see what we got in here. Doom Patrol #1. We got Doom Patrol Annual. And Doom Patrol 2 and 3. Ooh, Dreadstar #1. This is a big Jim Starlin book. Judge Dredd, Dread and Buried. Emerald Dawn 2, #1, Green Lantern. My brother's favorite superhero was Green Lantern growing up, so maybe I'll just send that to him. Ooh, here we go. Katsuhiro Otomo's Farewell to Weapons. Katsuhiro Otomo, Akira creator, a god amongst comic book men. Here's a different book of his that I have never heard of. All right, here we go for box number 2. So it's in alphabetical order. We're on the J's, which means you get a first issue of the Jetsons. Me, George, Judge Colt. This is a gold key book, a 15-cent book. I don't know anything about Judge Colt. Maybe you do. Drop a comment below. Prepubescent Kung Fu Gophers. You gotta love those anthropomorphic animal spoof books. They were inspired, obviously, by the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the 80s. God, I hope there's some turtles in here.
I like turtles.
Justice League 1. Oh, I remember this one. I bought this when this came out. It's a classic cover. Justice League Europe. Justice League International. Man, you think DC would have learned with these books? But no, they just kept putting the Justice League everywhere. Justice Machine Annual from Texas Comics. There's a swastika on the cover and a Nazi's getting punched. I'm into it. Superman, Man of Steel #1. Would have been cooler if it was an Action Comics #1. Man-Thing #1. Man-Thing #2. The third book in here is it a Man-Thing #3? And it sure is. Bet that's worth some money. Oh, there's a good one. Marvel Comics presents Wolverine #1. I just found some older Moon Knights. This is #2 and #3. Pretty good. One's a newsstand. New Teen Titans #1. Marv Wolfman, George Perez. Looks like it's in pretty okay shape. And New Teen Titans #2 annual. I think that this is the first Vigilante. I'll have to look up. Pretty sure that's what this book is. Oh, everybody loves New Warriors #1. There's so many of those out there. Normal Man. What have I heard about this? Oh, Normal Man. Jim Valentino. God, this might be pre-Marvel. This is definitely pre-Image, but this might be his first ongoing book. I love that. Oh, here we go. Nova #2. Not the Nova #1 I was looking for. Spectacular Spider-Man #2. Could have used the #1. Hope you're having fun. Powerline, a Shadowline saga. The only thing that jumps out to me on this one is that it looks like it's a Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Our old friend Bill Sienkiewicz. Sienkiewicz. Oh yes, there we go. Cover painted by Bill Sienkiewicz. Ooh, here's a good one. This is a Predator #1. That's a first appearance of the Predator in comics. This is a Dark Horse book. Still pretty cool. It's a first printing. All right, here we go. You got some Punisher books. Some Punisher annuals, which are not what I'm looking for. Oh, I love a good Hero Illustrated. Hero Illustrated #2. Box #2 in the bag. So we've got box #3 right here. All right, let's go. Well, that's a nice way to start. Adventures of Ford Fairlane, hell yeah. Adventures of Planet of the Apes 1 and 3. Alpha Flight 2. And a beautiful copy of Alpha Flight 1. Oh my god, I can't fucking escape the Justice Society. I'll cut that. Nobody cares about that fucking book. Apathy Cat. I don't know what it is, but I love it. Aquaman #1. Oh, look at you. You can talk to fish. Ooh, how pitiful that doesn't love an A-Team #1. This is pretty dope. Azrael, signed by Joe Quesada and James Pasco. Batman Adventures #2. Ooh. Yes. Okay. It was worth it. Right here, Batman Adventures #12. What's so special about this issue? This is the first appearance of Harley Quinn in comics. She was a character that was created for the animated series, but this is the first time she was ever in a comic. Fuck. Man, that's such a sick book. I can't believe I just pulled that book out of here. I don't know this one. Paul Dini, Batman Mr. Freeze. It's just a one-shot. Mark Buckingham, Paul Dini. Here we go. Yeah, a movie adaptation. Batman Returns. This is a cool one. Alita Battle Angel #1 and #2, even though that says part 3, but that says 2. This might be the first Alita Battle Angel issue. I don't know anything about the comic, but the movie actually was quite good. Nobody thinks that this is cool because everybody bought one. Bloodshot #1. Comment down below if you saw that Vin Diesel movie. That was so bad. Ooh, Boris the Bear #1. Hell yeah. Boris the Bear is just another anthropomorphic animal spoof comic. This one was released by Dark Horse. It came out after the Turtles. Captain Oatmeal, champion of breakfasts. Ooh, speaking of the Turtles,
I like turtles.
Casey Jones and Raphael #1 from October '94. Hell yeah. It is Simon Bisley. If you were a kid anytime in the last 25, 30 years, you're a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Cops, the job. Yeah, fuck the cops. Man, this would be great. Here's Coyote #1, Steve Englehart. Not special at all. #11, Coyote. First Todd McFarlane published artwork. There's nothing more 90s than a book called Cyberspace 3000. This is the most 90s thing that exists in the world. Then there's just Daredevil 249. Love it. Yeah, because you weren't getting Daredevil #1, homie. Well, hey. Oh, hell yeah. Darkhawk #1 and Darkhawk #2. Darkhawk is one of the two new characters that Marvel brought in '91. Was Darkhawk and Sleepwalker, and I love this book. Oh, there we go. It's a Dazzler #1. Looks like it's in decent shape. Fuck yeah. You gotta love a spoof comic from the 90s, The Death of Stupid Man, which is pretty cool. That was box #3. Batman Adventures #12. First Harley Quinn in comics. Huge book. This book is one of the biggest key issues, biggest comics in the last 25 years of comics. Let's get to box #4. So here we go. This looks like an Ultimate Warrior comic book. Ultimate Warrior from the WWF days. Oh god, nobody wants a fucking Warriors of Plasm #1. Not even Jim Shooter, and he created it. Oh yeah, this is a good one. WCW Wrestling #1, featuring Lex Luger on the cover, and WCW #2, featuring Farouk Ron Simmons on the cover. Jerry Ordway, Wildstar #1, Image Comics. Oh, Wonder Woman Annual #1 with a beautiful cover. Wonder Woman Annual #2 with a beautiful cover from George Perez. This is Wonder Woman #3 Annual with a Joe Quesada cover. 3 really beautiful covers from Wonder Woman. Some old vintage WWF comics. Out of the Ring Challenges and Lifestyles of the Brutal and Famous. Never seen these before. Oh, these are Valiant books. Valiant, before they were pumping out garbage, they did property books. So they were doing WWF and they were doing Nintendo. He's got plenty of Zen. Steve Stern's garbage. Oh god, there's so much of it. There's more Zen. There's more Zen. There's more Zen. Even more Zen. Even more Zen. Ooh, this is a good one. Thundercats #1, probably a #2 in there, and a #3. Thundercats, ho! It's one of my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, Time Cop, #1. This one just recently became hot. Ah, fuck yeah. Toxic Avenger #1. Toxic Avenger #2. And if you haven't heard, this film's getting a reboot with Peter Dinklage as a Toxic Avenger. I can't fucking wait to see Peter Dinklage as the Toxic Avenger. High adventure, trucking down the highway. Well, that closes out the 4th box. Here we are. We're down to the final box. This might be the box that actually kind of clinched it for me to buy it. I did see 2 books in here that I was like, all right, might as well. So let's get started here. This is something I've never seen. Spider-Man the Collector's Preview. The clone, the toys, the comics. Something that I've also never seen. Oh, this is an early Joe Madureira book. Spider-Man versus Dracula. Ah, very cool. Strange Tales #1. This is the reboot of it in the 90s. Ooh, an early Sam Keith book. Comico Strike Force America. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Wraparound Sam Keith cover. Bronze Age Tarzan #1. Bet that's got to be worth something. Yeah, here we go. So I saw this one when I was originally going through it. That's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 4th printing, but this was the first printing with a new cover. It's in really good condition too. Yeah, it's like a $200 book. Image Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Meet Archie, and then another good book. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures 1 and 2. And this is the first ongoing series with Archie. Joe Quesada, The Ray #1. Red Sonja #2. Pretty cool. Riptide. Rob Liefeld cover. Barry Windsor Smith's The Rune. Great art. Oh, here we go. Another Savage Dragon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Savage She-Hulk #3. Oh, fuck yeah. I told you before about Darkhawk #1 and Darkhawk being a new character in 1991. Here's the other one they introduced that year, Sleepwalker. Another Turtles book, Winter Special Giant Size Edition from 1993. This was fun. This was worth it. I just picked out the titles I knew and stuff that I have a frame of reference for. There's some stuff in here that I have absolutely no clue what it is. With indie books, especially in the 80s and 90s, there are some first appearances. There are some books that were the first art from a certain person. You know, like I pointed out, those Coyotes would have been the first time that Todd McFarlane's art was published. So, you know, it's going to be more than just me doing this once over. I'm going to have to go through it and do a little research. Thank you for joining me today. I know this is a long video. If there's anything that you like, that you see, just shoot me a message. We'll see you next week for another digging adventure. Let's go, Avengers.
Looks like there's no comics in here, but I'm gonna keep looking.